Hello folks and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party, and let's try Poly Bridge. It's developed by Cactus. You can get it on early access on Steam for $11.99. It's available for Windows, Steam Play, and Mac. It supports Steam Achievements, Workshop, and has a built-in level editor. I will be playing a free press copy that was provided to me in order to create this preview video. There's a few modes here. We're going to hop right into the campaign. I'm a little bit in. We're actually going to go backwards to the first tutorial world. See if we can show you, or so I can show you some of the like lower level, easier missions here. There's a few in particular I want to show you. Let's go with, let's start with the very basics here. The absolute basics of basics. So this is a physics bridge building simulator. Now supposedly the physics are supposed to be very accurate in this game. I don't know because I don't know physics all that well, but according to the developers, it's they worked very hard to get that correct. So I'll be interested to see, I'm sure there's some folks out there who are more familiar than me give their opinion on that. But regardless, the idea is to build a bridge so that the cars on the left can get to the section on the right. And there's a variety of different cars which have different speeds and different weights, which do factor into how they're going to get across. Some maps also have limits on how much stuff you can build. Early on, obviously, it's going to be easy stuff. We have our red anchor points. These are points that are kind of anchored on the physical earth structures, like, you know, the ground or a rock in the water. So we're going to just put these across here. Each section can only be so big, which again obviously plays into this very much. And so we got our main bridge, and let's see if that should work. That should be enough. I think that's all we really need. Let's start simulation. Oh, and the bridge falls and they drive into the water and die horribly. I consider that a success, but unfortunately the game doesn't. So let's move on and let's see if we can't get these people across safely. So early on, you've only got access to the bare minimum. And in the campaign, it limits you to what you can build, both in materials and in some cases how many of those items you can create. Sometimes it will limit you on maybe 3 road pieces or maybe only 10 wood pieces to add a little challenge. You also have a budget. Each piece you make costs money, and you want to stay under budget. You actually can go over budget, but there's a limit where you just flat out run out of money and you have to stop and go back and figure out what you're doing wrong. So we need to get this supported. Now, one nice thing about this game is that if you're creative, there's interesting, maybe not necessarily efficient ways that you can go ahead and still beat the level. You don't have to do everything one specific way perfectly, which is good because I'm not good at that kind of stuff. So we've selected wood, which right now is the only other building material we have other than road. And we want to get a good solid base here. So triangles are good, right? Everybody loves triangles. So let's go with triangles. One of my major complaints about this game so far, it does try to do a good job of the grid here, and it'd be hard to see on YouTube. But you can see a thicker line, so you can see where you're going to place this so that you can line it up with previously placed points, which is really good. However, and this circle here shows you just how far out you can build. As you can see, I can't build a piece of wood further out than this circle extends, which is also good. What I don't like is you can do something like this, and let's say, okay, now I want to connect these two. Of course, it's going to make a fool out of me. Hold on, I'm gonna make this not work, because it happens to me all the time when I'm playing. But of course, it's not going to happen now, and I'm sure it will eventually. But long story short, sometimes this can be too far away, and you end up building a few and then go back and go, this won't connect, it's too far. You have to destroy all the work you've done and redo it. Pretty annoying. But that's definitely one thing I'd like to see, is I'd like to see some kind of other visual indicator of where I'm at now, like another sub-ring, which shows how far out it can connect. Or maybe even have this change to a different color to say, okay, if you place this here, you can make a connection. If you put it over here, you cannot. Just to give you an extreme example, you can see, oh, I thought that could fit. Actually, I knew it couldn't. But theoretically, it happens because sometimes you're off by just like one square and you have to redo things. And it can be pretty agitating at times. So we want to do that. So let's see if that's enough. I don't think it will be, but let's go ahead and try that. We can hit shift to push it on. Oh, I guess that is enough. Nice. I also have an option turned on to show stress. it will actually color the beams to show you where the stress is, to give you an idea on how to more efficiently build the bridge, or if it's falling apart, you know, oh, this is the weak point. That can be actually kind of difficult though, because a lot of times the vehicles are moving a little bit too quickly for you to be able to see. I would really like for the instant replay, which is here. You can actually watch part of the replay here. Sometimes it's cut off, so if it's a longer one and if it's a fail, it'll only catch about 5 seconds of it. I wish it could have the whole thing, because I've had some pretty long fails. You can actually upload to the online gallery for the game, or you can actually send it to Twitter in video, which is pretty darn cool. But I do wish they had a replay so that you could watch again like this, but watch it in slow motion so I can see exactly where it is. Here again, it's not too difficult. These cars are relatively slow and they're the same weight, so you can see that it was right there. But there's a lot of cases where you have to look very quickly to see where the stress is. But anyway, we'll move on to the next, because I promise you they're not all this easy. And again, keep in mind if you see any bugs, this is early access. I haven't run into a whole lot of them. There's been a few here and there, but nothing too game breaking. And also keep in mind as well, that last map, we didn't even use the anchor point at the bottom, right? We went around it. That might not be the most efficient way, but that's the way I did it. This time, let's try to use the anchor point. This is a different map, obviously, but let's try a different approach here. And we'll do this. You can, you know, X out by just right-clicking. Now, of course, we're still going to need supports down here. So again, let's go with triangles. I see, here's what I'm talking about, where this is a little bit too far. And now I've gotten better at this just from playing it enough to kind of learn how far the beams can be. This is going to be too far. Yep. Did not think of that. And you can hold Alt and click on the actual joint, and it'll delete everything connecting to it, which is actually pretty handy. And again, I do promise you this stuff gets more complicated as you go along. So I'm going to try to do it this way. Maybe make it a little bit easier to make sure we connect all the dots. So let's try that. This might be a disaster. Oh, I think we ran into a bug right after I said, oh, there's not too many bugs. Perfect. Nice. I don't know why there was two there, but all right. Let's see next. Yeah, it looks like we've actually hit a bug. Again, it's funny that I say that. Now, yeah, because now the menu is actually gone out of the screen. Well, damn, I apologize about that. Right as I said, oh, there's no bugs in this. And now we can't see anything. We can't see our prices and stuff. Let me close out of the game and come back, and I'll see you in just a second. There we go. I just had to go back to the main menu, and that fixed it. So I actually switched to a different map, and I'm just going to show you a few of these to, again, give you an idea of the variety. Keeping in mind, too, you can create your own maps, and there's some on the workshop that you can grab. But anyway, so we can only build 2 roads here, which is pretty important. It looks like this just was added, I believe. The speed, I think that's the speed the simulation runs. But let's see if we can't make this jump. And I've done this one before, but I actually don't remember a lot about it. But let's try a big arch first. It's gonna need support. I'm almost positive that's not enough, but we're gonna leave it at that. Now this is a scooter, so it goes pretty quickly. It doesn't weigh a lot, so you don't need a ton of support there. Okay, so that did not work. What was the problem? Is it not going high enough? I don't know. Maybe that's what we should try. Maybe a steeper, or maybe we should have a more gradual incline, because I saw when it hit the ramp, it kind of stuttered. So let's try that. Let's try a little bit less here and a little bit more here. See if that evens it out just a bit. And again, we don't need a ton of support because it is just a scooter. If this was a van or something like that, we need some more. God, I hate that so much. If you only knew how many times I had to redo pretty big sections because of that. Let's see what happens. Come on, little man. And there we go. Perfect. So there's a lot of trial and error there, which is kind of built around that. So in this case, normally I'm vehemently against trial and error, but this game I think it's okay. And again, we have another jump. We're actually gonna back out a bit to the main map and skip ahead a little. Now this is the tutorial area, but there was a few maps in here. I'm not good at this type of game, just a full disclosure. It gave me a lot of struggles. Probably this one, the one I just, the one I just jumped out of. No pun intended. I went over budget on that one. That's why that one is yellow. But there's definitely some that that gave me a good run for my money. I want to see if I can't find. Here we go. Here's a drawbridge. Now, the red rectangle in the middle is going to be a boat that is going to come through at some point. So we have to be able to build around that bridge coming through. Now we can only build 8 roads. So let's just see how many we end up making to go across. So there's 8 there. But we've still got this bridge. Now I can tell you from experience that we don't want this, because what will happen is, in fact, I'll go ahead and just show you this real fast. And there's also steel here, 2 steel beams. I'm not quite sure what the point of that is. I presume that it's better at dealing with like the pressure of like it's going to be less likely to buckle. I think that would be relatively safe to say. Other than that, I haven't used it a whole lot. In fact, I think last time I beat this mission, I didn't use it at all. See what I mean? Like, it's just barely too far. And luckily, I should be able to fix it relatively easily. But it's a little bit worse too, because I'm trying to do this quickly. Also, you'll find little things that you wouldn't think would cause a big issue can be a little bit bigger issue than you think. We might not be able to do this. Yep. See, it's just a smidge off. So we'll cheat and do this. But yeah, little things can matter, like how far away these joints are from it. So if I'd have made these up here, I found that can make a pretty significant difference as well. Let's actually start from here. Apparently, triangles are nature's bridge builder. This probably won't work. I think this is going to break in the middle. At least when the car goes through. Well, maybe not. Nice. And now the bridge is going to come through, or the barge is going to come through and wreck our bridge like a jerk. However, the guy on the scooter just doesn't care. He knows he's got one job to do, and that's to cross this bridge no matter what. So he gives it a whirly try and then dies a watery death. Praise Poseidon. So now what we have to do is we got to get a suspension going on here. What we need to do, we're going to close a lot of these. In fact, I'm just going to... Actually, let's just leave those and see if we can get around that. Middle mouse click brings up the menu. And we're going to bring it just so. We're going to put one in the middle as much as we can. And this one's going to be as far as we can get it. Basically, the idea is to... that's a little bit closer than I would like. We definitely want to get this one as far out as possible. That might be far enough away. We'll find out. We have a little bit of leeway there, but not a whole lot. So let's go ahead and quickly get this wood back up. Hold Alt and then click to destroy a beam. So now we need to get the top part set up here. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. Oh, not roads, sorry. Need wood. And again, I presume this is probably what the metal is supposed to be for creating the drawbridge suspension. But I don't think I even use it. Oh, God, makes me so angry. You know what, let's just try it like this. We might not even need that other stuff. We're gonna push this pretty far back, and you'll see why in a bit. All right, so now let's get the hydraulics. Now, hydraulics can actually go further than the wood, which is very handy. So let's try this. This may or may not. Yep, I'd say that went pretty well. Let's hit shift to exit out of that. So we saw it break over here. So let's go ahead and get some more stability, because we do have more weight up here now. So we have to factor that in, which is I totally didn't do on purpose to prove a point. You can see there's a ton of stress down here. So when this car goes over, okay, it's not so bad. Oh, whoops. And that's what happens when you don't use a split, which is, again, I totally 100% did on purpose. Right click or double click, that'll make the split. Now let's try it. Now let's try it. I've noticed I don't think that should have, okay, apparently that does add just a smidgen of extra weight. a little bit more than we need. So let's take all that extra weight off that we don't need. There, that helped. I did take, yeah, I kept the split, right? Guess we'll find out in a second. Oh, nope. I did not. Let's try it again. Well, at least the bridge didn't fall. That's good. Now, the key is it going to stay together when it pulls up the split? That's a negative. This bridge didn't have enough to stay up on its own. Let's see if this is actually enough. You can actually move the camera around. Nope, that's going to, yep. All right. So we have two big problems. One, this doesn't have enough stability. Two, this doesn't go far enough back. So what we're going to do, hydraulic, we're going to put this back as far as possible. I'm going to try to put as little weight on this. Nope, I didn't do that. I always hit shift for some reason. As little weight as possible. But we're going to have to do something because these are just out of reach. If we do it down a bit. The reason is because once we... oops, nope. The reason is that... Damn it. Wood is like just a little too small in this game, I swear. Let's do this. This is probably going to make it a little bit too heavy. So now we need to worry about this staying up a little bit better. I found a little cheat is where I put this. It kind of holds it a little better. This is probably going to be a disaster. Well, so far, so good. Again, you don't have to be perfect, obviously, to get this to work. Sometimes you just need to get it to work. Alright, so I think that should... No, it's still not going to be far enough back. How did I beat this before? And I won't necessarily spend a lot of time on this. Again, I just kind of want to show you how it works. I'll probably try one or two more times to try to get it this way. He'll make it. If he could jump it... No, he can't jump it. So it didn't pull back far enough. Actually, neither one of them did in this case. Let's try it higher. You know what? Let's try this. This is probably going to be disastrous, but I'm thinking maybe maybe that's what they wanted us to use these beams for. It's like doing the hydraulic first, actually. That wasn't really... It's not even, but hey, it doesn't have to be even, right? It just has to work. Oh, man. It's a little wobbly, folks, but you can make it across. Don't worry. Trust me, I'm a bridge engineer. Looks like I pushed those the wrong way. This is probably not going to end well one way or the other. No, that side stayed. So I'm sure to be able to recover, and this guy will get across safely. And again, another thing to keep in mind, and I've seen where this mattered, your bridge doesn't have to stay together. As long as people can get across, you can win. Your bridge can completely collapse. But if the last vehicle makes it across, you're good to go. I'm not sure why they pulled that way. Honestly, that's definitely going to be too far. You can actually switch the way that these pull. We're going to try one more time. We're going to bump the speed up a little bit. Nope. I'm going to say that's... Nope. That might not be successful. Well, maybe you never know. Maybe they'll push themselves back. Yeah, he's fine. He'll make this. No problem. If you pick up a little speed. Well, you know what? You brought this on yourself. It was your fault. You were going too slow. All right, so let's leave that level. You got to leave a little bit to the mystery, right? That's why I left it. Not because I'm terrible at these types of games. I'm not that far into this level or into this area yet, or am I? Oh, can you jump ahead, it appears. I did not know that. That's good. So it looks like if you get stuck on a level, because I've only got to here, I believe. And it looks like you can just jump straight ahead to another mission if you want, which is cool. That way, if you get stuck on one, which I actually did and was getting frustrated, I actually could have just skipped ahead and came back to it with kind of a fresh mind. Now, you cannot go to the next world, however. I think there's about 60 different maps in the campaign currently. Again, keeping in mind you can make your own levels or use the Steam levels as well. But let's try one more bridge. Let's try one that's kind of far in here. This way, maybe show you a few more different things. Wood, steel, and cable. Now, you can also have this the cable. They cover a lot of this in the tutorial, but I honestly don't really recall what it's for, especially with a tugboat like this. We have unlimited road, 6 steel, unlimited cable, but we don't have any hydraulics. That's what I'm a little confused on. So we'll try this, but I'm probably not going to get very far because I honestly don't have any idea. And these cars, especially the station wagon, is way too slow to do any kind of serious jumps. So I mean, you could just say, you know what? Oops. You could just say, you know what? Screw all that. We're going to make them jump over. Because that's how we do it. Just say, okay. This can't possibly be disastrous, so let's do it. Stabilization. Get it just close enough because that shouldn't hit. Oh god, see what I mean? It drives me nuts. It's the one big thing, and this is gonna be too far too. It's just frustrating to find like that perfect pixel to make it work. It can be hard to tell. See, it might be too far either way. You know what? Let's do it this way. Max distance. What if I do it this way? There we go. Just barely. Alright, so now we're going to the tricky part here. Go over the boat. Again, I like that you can beat a lot of these levels in different ways. It's not like you have to do it this way or, you know, be very close. Like we saw in that one, I didn't even connect to that the land portion. I didn't even need to. I just went around it. So we'll build another layer here, because if we don't, I think it's going to collapse, like the one on the right side did. Again, to kind of demonstrate. So we'll try that here. Hopefully it'll be enough. And then we'll check out some custom levels I downloaded, and we'll check out the map editor as well. And you can build underwater. This is gonna be... This one's still... Let's just keep building more and more wood. Keeping in mind you do have a budget, so you are limited to how nuts you can get. But so far it's been... I only really went over budget that one time, and I am bad at this game. I don't think that's really going to help. Because at this point, it's just making it heavier. You can see there's a lot of weight on this side. Oh, you know what? Let's do this. Can't build right on the edge there, but... God almighty. There we go. Perfect. Absolutely nothing will go wrong, folks. Just drive over the bridge and pray for a quick death. Alright, well, we'll stop trying with that. That gives you a rough idea. Keep in mind, this is just the beginning. This is like the stage after the tutorial, and I'm already struggling. For those of you who are kind of good at this thing, you'll probably do much, much better than I do. Honestly, I don't have the patience for it. I don't have the patience, especially because sometimes what will happen is you'll build something like I just did, and it's just not going to work, and you have to just say, you know what, I had to start over. Now, there is a clear button that clears everything out automatically for you, which is nice because, like I said, sometimes you just have to wipe it all away. But then sometimes you have to delete a whole lot of stuff. And again, for normally I don't have a problem with that, or a lot of folks probably won't have an issue with that. It gets a little old for me. I just don't have the patience for it, and eventually I just start trying to slap anything together in order to get past the stage. But that's just me. So let's look at the sandbox, which is just the level builder. I don't quite know why they called it sandbox, but whatevs, minor problem. You can put these close together, which doesn't seem like it's going to be much of a challenge. Spread them out here. You've got all these different objects. The balloons are pretty interesting. I have not run into any of those yet. You can actually bounce vehicles off of them, which is pretty neat off the top. I probably should not be, you know, hot air ballooning in the water, but there you go. You can add anchor points. You can add terrain like rocks, a ramp like we saw with the one level. And I've tried to like build ramps on ramps to make them go faster, but I haven't had a whole lot of luck with that. You can also add other things like, you know, these wood bench things. You can do different, you can also like create events, vehicles, ships, input hydraulic phases. You can limit budgets. So like maybe make a bridge that's kind of easy, but your budget's very, very limited. So you have to be very efficient. And you can have multiples, of course. You can have as many balloons as you want. Maybe have some just for background decoration, some to bounce on, etc. Which is pretty neat. Like if you're really into this type of thing, you know, creating your own levels, maybe to have your friends try to beat or even put them on the Steam store, you can do that. So let's exit out of there. And Steam Workshop. Now this doesn't have any kind of Steam Workshop browser built into it. You have to go to the workshop on Steam and find the ones that you like and download them, which is not a big deal. It's pretty easy to do. You just click subscribe and boom, you load the game. I didn't have to reboot the game. It automatically found them. So let's try hydraulic bridge. Tells you my budget. Tells you that there's no vehicles. Actually, there is a vehicle, just doesn't tell you for some reason. Looks like this one's a big truck. And a bridge, which we've already discussed that I am not good with the hydraulics. So we want to get as close as we can. And again, I probably won't actually peak this level, but give it a quick shot. I just grabbed two of the most popular bridges out there. But yeah, I know there's a lot of folks who love this type of thing. This, you know, kind of building physics puzzles where you have to kind of figure it out. Oh, we don't have any more wood. Okay. So how much steel do we have? Do we just blindly use steel? Which is most likely what I'm going to do. Ah, of course. There we go. Perfect. Nothing could possibly go wrong there. Wow, the steel's actually bending the side there. Ah, and I got hung on the boat somehow. It was a little bit too far here. Just another quick try here. Again, these bridges are, I think the custom bridges, mostly it's going to be a trials type situation, right? Where they're more built around the idea that you know what the hell you're doing. I do not. Like I say, I'm obviously not very good at these types of games. Figuring out how you're supposed to do them is not my forte. So that's just gonna flop. That's not gonna work. So I'm wondering if maybe we're supposed to do something like that. Just shy. Get in the middle. Yeah, this is definitely going to be more difficult because I can't just spam wood beams because that's all I know how to do. Because that's not even going to hold. Nope. Afraid not. Now, I'll end up sitting here forever trying to figure this out. But they are there. They are there for you to try to figure out. One interesting little feature this game has is you can randomly view people's replays. Now, keep in mind, if this is the way I think the recording of the replays goes. If it's successful, it records the entire thing. If it's a failure, it only records like the last 6 seconds or so right before the failure. So if you've got a longer map, you might miss the important part of the failure. Like for example, I had a failure where like a previous vehicle broke the bridge as it was going over, but it made it across. And then later a boat came through, which was fine, but then the last vehicle couldn't make it across because the bridge had broke. So all you saw was the vehicle trying to cross a broken bridge. It cut out the other parts. So keep that in mind when you're looking at people's replays. And it's only random ones. I've seen some pretty cool ones, some both successes and failures. And you can see they do mix it up a bit. Sometimes, and I don't know if these are custom levels or campaign levels, but they sometimes have it where you have vehicles on each side and you have to get vehicles from one side to the other. Here you can see that this person built a very interesting bridge, so you have it going across, and then during the hydraulic phase, it lifts up the two ends so that the other vehicle can cross over into the other side, which is really cool. I would probably never think to do that because my brain isn't equipped to do this. I don't think that station went. Oh, it's barely failed. But there was one, I wish I could find it, and we'll be wrapping up here very, very shortly. There was one very cool one I watched that I liked, where the guy, like, he bounced off of two balloons and had the structure built so that it caught the vehicle, but it was a monster truck, so it was very heavy. So it collapsed the entire thing, but it collapsed in such a way that his momentum still carried him over the finish line. So it completely destroyed the bridge, but it was the only vehicle, so it was a success. It was really, really awesome. And you can actually change the view. You can see this person change the view to the side view, so that you could watch it go across. And it is kind of nice to show, see what other people are doing. And maybe if you're having trouble figuring out the physics, which again, that's my problem. Oh, looks like they caught a bug there. Now see, again, you can do cool stuff like this, where you bounce it off the balloon, go across. Oh my God, is that gonna make it? Obviously, stuff like that is something way out of the realm that I'll be able to figure out. But it's there. You can do it. You can figure it out, which I think is really, really neat. So yeah, that was Poly Bridge. Again, this game is on early access for $11.99. I will have a link to the game in the description below the video. So if you like it, go ahead and check it out. Also, leave a comment in the comment section below. Know what you think of this game. Does it look your kind of thing? Have you played it? If so, what do you think about it? Any kind of feedback, obviously, I always appreciate it. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to see more videos like this where I cover games that you may not have heard of, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you next time.